Okay, so today the focus is on this concept of the order of operations. All right, I said we'd be doing it all the time. And that is the focus of this course. Let me set the lighting in here. The focus of this course, as I drew on that small whiteboard yesterday, is that we need to get from questions to answers in the simplest way possible by understanding what the question's asking and then coming up with a simple method to get you there, okay? That's the goal. And then to make this stick, the only way to make it stick is to repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And then it becomes easy. For those of you who do athletics, there's a concept in athletics called muscle memory. Okay? I heard in the post game in the Jets game last night they were talking about muscle memory. This is this idea that if you train hard enough, your body just remembers how to do actions without you thinking about it. Muscle memory. This is your math muscle memory or your math mental memory. That if you just practice these questions enough times, when you get a question in front of you in some other math course, you don't have to think about it too much. You just remember the process of doing it. Okay. Last time, this was the takeaway. In the last lesson I gave to you guys, the language was that brackets are these symbols used to create a package that we always open first. And that negatives are the opposite of positives, which are whole numbers, and you indicate them with a little negative sign. This is on the board in the other room right now. The method was one simple phrase. Negative and a negative is a positive. That was our way to help get through those problems. Today we focus on something different, order of operations. Okay, so this is actually the method. Order of operations is a method, a set of rules, a procedure, a recipe, an instruction, deciding which of these math things you do first to get the correct answer. So the first thing you might be thinking to yourself is, what do I care? Why can't I just answer the math question any way I want? Why do I have to follow your rules, Walks? I like to follow my own rules. I'm a rebel. Well, let's take a look at it. Here's a question. 2 plus 5 times 4. I'm going to answer that question two different ways, okay? So in the first way, I'm going to do the multiplication first. So I'll go, or pardon me, the addition first. So I'll go 2 plus 5 and I'll get 7. And then I'll multiply 7 times 4 and get 28. The next time, I'm going to go, well, I'm going to do the multiplication first. I'm going to go 5 times 4, I'm going to get 20. And then 20 plus 2, and I get 22. Here's why it's important. Those are two completely different answers. So if that's the universe we lived in, where you could do math any way you want, so you get a bill when you go to the restaurant, and the cashier goes, well, your bill, sir, is going to be $120 for the, say you went to Red Lobster and you had a big feast. Sure. Any other random topics that we want to go over? I like dogs better than cats. Potatoes are my favorite side vegetable. I mean, we could just do a bunch of random topics. But anyways, let's say you're at that restaurant and you get your bill and it says $120 and you go, no, not for me. I add the math up this way and my bill comes to 78 cents. And the date you're with says, but wait a minute, I add the math up this way and the bill comes to $3,000. No, we can't live in that universe. It's anarchy. Everyone's fighting. So we need some rules. The rules need to decide which of these is right and which of these is wrong. And the answer is that this one's right and this one's wrong. 22 is right and 28 is wrong. Why? Because they're following the order of operations. The rules. The order of operations are the rules in math to determine what you do first. Okay. We did them correctly. There was no addition or multiplication problems, but one was right and one was wrong because the order of operations is the rules we all agree on to make sure that, for example, multiplication is always done before addition and subtraction. It's just done that way, okay? So back here on this question, I should have done the multiplication first, which is what I did down here. I multiplied 5 times 4. Whereas up here, I did the multiplication second. I did the addition first. I did 5 plus 2. That's why I had 7 here, and I had 20 down here. So I was following the wrong rules in the first case. In the second case, I was following the correct rules. And since I was following the correct rules, I got the correct answer. So that's what order of operation essentially means. It's the rules for following what order to do things. Okay. The order actually is, so just so you know, the first thing you always do is the brackets, and you knew that. Just like Christmas morning, you unwrap that first. So anything inside of brackets is always done first. The second thing that's normally done first, I've got good news for you, you don't have to worry about. It's called exponents, and you know what? I don't care about that in this course. They're going to cover exponents in the regular grade 9 course. So for me in numeracy, I could care less about it. So we're not even going to worry about exponents. Then division and multiplication, like I just said. Those things are done next. And then finally, the last thing you do is addition and subtraction. That's the order. That's the rules. You need to know those rules. And some of you have probably heard this before. But to do this, there's a memorization technique. This is the one thing I want you to take away from today. And I bet you some of you knew it. It's called BEDMAS, or Bedmass. Okay? Bedmass, Bedmass. It stands for the things in the order in which you follow it. That you do brackets, and then, you know what? Since we don't have to do exponents, let's come up with another E word that means I don't care. How about extra? Brackets, then this is extra. Division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. All you need to worry about is remembering the word Bedmass. Hey, how could I remember that? Say it to yourself out loud right now. Let's all do it together so we don't get embarrassed. Bedmass. Bedmass. Okay? I like to say Bedmass because the bed is like addition. Right? Addition is the A sound. Bedmass sounds like it's not audition. I'm going to do my audition problems. That sounds like I should be in the theater right now. No, it's addition, right? So it's Bedmass. Okay? Let's see how it works. Brackets. You knew what that was. We already talked about it. Placed around math stuff to form a package or a present. Here, in this question, because 4 plus 5 is put in a package, I unwrap it first. So I do that first. Get 9. Now I do the rest. 10 times 9, and I get 90. Okay? That's a simple example. But it makes sense that the brackets go first. Now, here, in this question, I have 2 sets of brackets. So I do this set first, and then I'll do that one. Does it matter which one? No, because they're both brackets. I could have done this one or this one, but I'm doing the brackets first, okay, to get that, okay? They're both brackets. They're both considered what's called of the same order or of the same precedence. Now, this is a complicated version of that. I would never give you this question. But in this one, we have lots of brackets. Tons and tons of brackets. But you know what? If I gave that to you as like the final question in this course, and if you didn't get it, you didn't pass, I bet you could probably do it. It would take some time, but you would whittle it down and get rid of some brackets, and then whittle it down and get rid of other brackets, and then whittle it down and whittle it down. Now, let me give you a simpler example. Okay? What if I did this? 5 plus 3 in brackets times 2 in brackets plus 1. It's a little more complicated, but how do we do this? Well, we always go to brackets first. Brackets are a package. So I see a set of brackets right here. This is a big package. So imagine it's Christmas time and this package arrived in the mail. You got a big package. Ooh, cool. So I'll worry about this later because I have to deal with this package right now. So I'm now going to open up this package. So I'm going to rewrite what's inside the package without these 2 brackets. And here's what I write. Notice that those 2 brackets, this one and this one, are now gone because I've opened the package. And guess what I found inside? This is just like a big package that comes from your aunt. Guess what? There's more packages inside that package. So now when I have this, what do I do first? I do the brackets first. I do that package. Oh, what's 5 plus 3? That was a question. The answer is 8. Now I've unwrapped this package. This was a different package. And I've got 8. Oh, okay, now I'll do the 8 times 2, which is 16. And now the big package is unwrapped. And now I just have to do the final piece, add 1, and I got the final answer, 17. Okay? So don't be intimidated by the brackets. Think back to that simple rule that brackets are a package, and they're packages we unwrap first. Keep it simple and follow the procedure. And yes, you could have done that with this big complicated question to whittle your way down to the answer of 25. I'm not going to make you do that. That would have been awful, right? But it's the same idea, okay? By the way, more often than not, you won't see questions like this with the fancy, curly, square bracket. More often than not, teachers will just write it like this, like I just did, where it's just the same round brackets. That's more common in math classes. Okay. Then we get to the E of Bedmass. Bedmass, pardon me. But good news! We don't have to worry about the E. We skip the E. E is not part of the numeracy course. So let's just move on. Now, the last 4 letters, DMAS, when I showed this to my wife, she said, does this mean dumbass? No, it's just DMAS, which stands for division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Now, the reality is they're actually in pairs. Division and multiplication, you can just do those at the same time. And addition and subtraction, you can do those at the same time. Okay? But if that's too confusing for you, don't do it that way. Okay? So let me build a question that uses all 4 of those. No brackets. Oops. Come on. Come on, you can do this. Oops. Try that again. There we go. Okay, so let me build up a simple question that does that. Okay, so 4 plus 2, that's addition, minus 1, that's subtraction, times 3 divided by 1. Okay, we know the thing we're supposed to remember is BEDMAS. There's no brackets. Don't got to worry about it. E, I don't got to worry about it. We're left with DMAS. So I'll do the division first. Okay? And actually, let's make this a little bit easier on ourselves here. Let's make that a 2. So the division would be done first. Here's the division. 2 divided by 1. Well, that's 1. And I'll just keep rewriting the same question. Write it back. There we go. So now that's done. Now I'll do the multiplication. 1 times 1. Oh, that's just 1. That's done. Now I'll do the addition. That's done. And then finally the subtraction, and I'm done. That's fine. No problem. You can do it that way if you want. That will get you to the right answer. Now, the other way would be that, like I said, these are really in groups, these 2 and these 2. So the first 2 that you need to do is division and multiplication. But you didn't have to do them in that order if you didn't want to. You could have done the multiplication first. 1 times 2. What would you get? 2. Okay? 2 divided by 1. 1. Right? So you'd still get to the same spot. Then you could do these 2 at the same time. You could do 4 times 2 minus 1, which would be 6 minus 1, 5. Or I could do this first, 2 minus 1, 1, 4 plus 1, 5. I get the same answer. So really, those are in groups in the sense that you can do them at the same time if you want. But that might be too confusing for you. I've said this is the order, so then follow the order. Do your brackets, skip your exponents, because you don't got to worry about it. Then do division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Just remember it that way, and you're good to go. Okay? For those of you who want to kind of think of it as a little bit like here again, okay? Same problem, solved 2 different ways, and I go down. We could potentially actually have a bit of a problem So the other way you want to remember it is if things are all of the same order. So let's say I had a question like this. 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. So I go to Bedmass. And I go, okay, well, there's no brackets. Don't worry about that. There's no division. There's no multiplication. It's all addition. It's all addition. So which thing do I do first? Well, if that's the case, always move from the left to the right, just like the way you read. So I would go 4 plus 2, 6. 6 plus 4, 10. And 10 plus 5. Okay? Going from left to right. Okay? That might be a bit tricky for some of you. So if you remember nothing, remember Bedmass. It might steer you wrong once in a while, but more often than not, it's going to steer you the right direction. Okay, let's wrap up. All you need to remember is order of operations are the rules in math to know which thing to do first. And the only method you need to remember is Bedmass from left to right. That's it. That's all I need you to know. Yeah.